Ever looked at a sprawling city skyline and thought about the hidden environmental costs of all that concrete and steel? Well, you're definitely not alone. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to dive right in and rigorously examine the massive footprint of our conventional building practices. But more importantly, we're going to explore the scientific, actionable framework of sustainable habitats to completely redesign our urban future. Let's get started.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the building crisis. Then we'll define sustainable habitats, break down the 5 core elements, look at designing for accessibility, and finally, rethinking our urban future.
All right, part 1, the building crisis.
You know, we so often point fingers at transportation or agriculture when we talk about climate change, right? But the hidden culprit is literally right over our heads. Our buildings are practically swallowing the planet. Just look at these numbers. They consume a staggering 50% of global raw materials. That means half of everything we extract from the earth goes straight into our structures. Add to that 42% of our global water and 40% of all energy use. It's wild to think about, but nearly half of our planetary resources are drained just to build and maintain the spaces we live and work in.
And honestly, the crisis is perfectly mirrored on the output side too. It's not just what buildings consume, it's the toxic waste they leave behind. Building activities directly cause half of all global air and water pollution. Plus, they generate 48% of our solid waste and drive 42% of greenhouse gas emissions. So we're talking massive resource depletion on the front end and massive environmental degradation on the back end. The data is super clear here. Conventional building is fundamentally broken.
So, moving on to part 2, defining sustainable habitats. So, what exactly is the alternative? Well, a sustainable habitat is defined as an ecosystem that provides food and shelter without causing resource depletion or pollution. Notice the exceptionally high bar here. We're talking about absolutely zero damages, no depletion, no pollution whatsoever. Whether it's a natural environment or scientifically constructed by man, the goal of modern urban planning is to engineer human-made habitats that perfectly mimic the zero-waste balance of a natural ecosystem.
Let's jump into part 3, the 5 core elements.
To make this incredibly complex science actually actionable, urban planners rely on a structural framework known as the 5 Ds. Those are density, design, diversity, distance to transit, and destination accessibility. Every successful sustainable habitat absolutely must rigorously balance all 5 of these variables. Let's break down exactly how they work.
We begin with density. This is the precise mathematical concentration of population, dwellings, or jobs within a specific area, measured as gross or net. Now, why is this so critical? Because low density equals urban sprawl, and sprawl destroys natural land, forcing us to travel way further, which just skyrockets those energy and pollution metrics we looked at earlier. Proper density, on the other hand, keeps a habitat compact, highly efficient, and actually walkable.
Next up is diversity. If density is about how much is in an area, diversity is really about what is in that area. A sustainable habitat cannot just be an endless, monotonous sea of identical houses. It requires a strategic, strict mix of residential, commercial, and agricultural spaces, based on floor area, employment, and land area. High diversity creates a vibrant, self-sustaining community where you don't have to drive miles and miles just to buy groceries, go to work, or find shelter.
Okay, part 4, designing for accessibility.
So how do dense, diverse populations actually navigate all this safely? That brings us to design. A truly sustainable street network has to fundamentally shift its priority away from cars, giving strict preference to pedestrians. We're talking about engineering well-maintained sidewalks, frequent interconnections, really safe crossings, and excellent lighting. By designing for the pedestrian first, you instantly slash greenhouse gas emissions while making the habitat significantly safer and far more livable.
But of course, people still need to travel further distances sometimes, right? And this is where the 4th D, distance to transit, comes into play. This specific metric measures the average physical distance from a person's home or workplace to the nearest rail or bus stop. By seamlessly integrating public transit and keeping that shortest street route really compact, you effectively wipe out the need for high-polluting personal vehicles for daily commuting. It's a total game changer.
And that seamlessly feeds into our final element, destination accessibility. This calculates how easily citizens can actually reach local trip attractions, like the daily market, as well as vital regional destinations, like employment centers. Just think about how it all connects like a giant puzzle. With high density and diversity, your local market is just a short walk away. And with a short distance to transit, your regional job is an easy, low-emission train ride away.
When done right, these 5 elements function perfectly together as a unified system.
Finally, Part 5, Rethinking Our Urban Future.
We've seen the hard data. Traditional building practices are frankly draining our planet, but we also have the blueprint for the alternative right in front of us. We can build ecosystems meticulously engineered around density, design, diversity, distance to transit, and destination accessibility. So I'm going to leave you with a bit of an assignment. When you walk outside today, I want you to look critically at your own built environment. How well does it truly measure up? Calculate its score across those 5 Ds. Are you living in a sustainable habitat of the future, or are you trapped in the polluting practices of the past? Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.